that look good? I think it looks good. Hi everyone, my name is Demetri and welcome back to DemetriTube, The Bachelorette, Golden Edition. Let's talk about it. As always, if you're enjoying my videos, please go ahead and pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. I'm a growing YouTuber and like, subscribes really help me out. Just two quick things before we get started. Y'all, I am still jet lagged. So if I look a little tired in this video, I'm sorry. I have been jet lagged for like 3 days. Like I keep going to bed at 7 p.m. and I need to just, I'm telling myself today, I'm gonna stay awake and power through it. Well, hopefully it goes well. Next, with Jen Tran's season last season, it ended so badly. And I just want to say, you got to take the good with the bad. When it comes to reality TV, sometimes you get amazing stories with very happy endings. And more often than not, you get horrible stories with terrible endings. You just got to kind of take it for what it is. And personally, I just like watching the stories unfold, whether or not it's good or bad. And like with Jen's season, a lot of people were upset saying they shouldn't have shown the proposal. And a lot of people also were upset saying like, how could ABC do that to the first Asian American bachelorette, yada, yada, yada. Y'all, this is reality TV. We want to see the real. We want to see what actually happens. I don't care how cringy or bad the proposal is. If that's what happened, I want to see it. And the other great thing about reality TV is it doesn't matter if you're black, Asian American, purple, white, whatever, you can get the smoke. If ABC has the opportunity to embarrass you, they will. And that is the risk you take when signing up for the show. And when people were like, oh my God, how could you do that to the first Asian American bachelorette? I just thought, what makes y'all think she's gonna get special treatment just because she's Asian American? Like, as the lead of the show, you are at risk of embarrassment. It's just the way the show goes. And the same thing happened with Matt James. A lot of people wanted like a perfect happy ending just because he was the first black bachelor, but like that's not the way reality TV goes. Like not all endings are happy and you just gotta like take the stories for what it is. And that may sound harsh, but whatever, that's just how I feel. Just take the good with the bad. And yeah, it's tough to watch sometimes, but I just wanna see the stories unfold. And with that, that's all I got. Let's dive into the Golden Bachelorette. The episode starts and we get an intro package with Joan. And let me just say, this intro package in general was just so tastefully done. Like on The Bachelor and Bachelorette, the intro packages are kind of like silly and like corny and playful, but this one like told more of a story about how like she found love, her husband unfortunately died, and now she's like looking for love again. Like she has everything she wants in life. She has a wonderful family. She has everything she wants and needs, but she just wants to find love again. And just the way they told it was just so tasteful. Like I just wasn't expecting this. Like I was definitely expecting more silly, but I really like the way they did this. And not only that, in the intro package, Joan served us 2 winter looks and they were absolutely gorgeous. And then you have the backdrop with all the snow and the snow falling. This looked so good. And y'all know I love a winter fantasy. As y'all know, I prefer The Bachelor over The Bachelorette, and usually The Bachelor is filmed in like the fall, winter, so we get more fall, winter looks. And I prefer the winter looks. They're just so much more glamorous. Like, I mean, from the previews, I don't think we're gonna get much of it this season, but hopefully on Grant's season, we get more fall winter looks. Next, if you are watching this video and you watch The Golden Bachelor, let me know below in the comments. But apparently Joan was on The Golden Bachelor and she randomly just left because she needed to be with her daughter. But did they give a reason? Like, did they say specifically what happened with her daughter? Because from what I've heard and just what I've been reading online, her exit was just very sketch. Next, so Joan is from Rockville, Maryland, and if you're watching this video, if you didn't know, I live in DC and I'm from Northern Virginia. And if you've never heard of this before, but like the DC metropolitan area, like DC, Maryland, Virginia, like that part, it's called the DMV. And she lives in part of the DMV, and Joan is very DMV. Y'all probably did not catch this, but she said she met her husband in Ocean City, Maryland, and like they showed photos of her taking trips to Ocean City, Maryland. And then there was another photo of her and her family at a Redskins game. And if you looked at the photo, they had that like original Redskins gear. Cause now, so Redskins was deemed racist, yada, yada, yada. So now the team is the Commanders. And overall, that was the most DMV storyline I've probably ever heard on reality TV. And like, if you know, you know. Like, if you're from the area, you know, but if you're not from there, you probably wouldn't know this. And low-key, I'm like kind of rooting for her because of that fact. And like, they didn't go into a lot of details with her husband, but I would not be surprised if like her husband works in DC or like works for the government or something. And just like, if we heard more about her stories, like if you know, you know, but her storyline was just so DMV. And yep, it's that time, outfit of the episode. For this week's outfit of the episode, I'm giving it to Joan for her first impression dress. So y'all, let me just put it out there. I didn't really like this dress, but there weren't that many outfits this episode. And don't get me wrong, this dress is really pretty and she looks amazing, but I wish this dress was like black or like a dark green or like a military green or something. The dress is like kind of see-through, and I just feel like if it was black or like a dark green, it really just would have looked so much better. Again, she looks good, but I personally didn't love this dress, but it is a great night one dress. And last thing I want to say about the intro package, y'all, I don't know what it is, but something about Joan just seems a little fake to me. Like, I can't clock it. I literally don't have a reason. It's just a little bit of a feeling I get. If I see something in the show that I can prove it, I will. But for now, it's just a feeling I get. Again, she's probably a great person, but I don't know why I'm just getting this feeling and I had to tell y'all. Next, if you made it this far in the video, please go ahead and pound that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Okay, now let's dive into the contestants. As always, I'm not going to talk about every single contestant. I'm only going to talk about the things that I found interesting. And one thing I do want to say about the guys, so I love the casting this season. I think the casting of the contestants was very well done, and we have a very diverse cast here. But there is one thing I did notice. So I don't know if you've heard this, but you know how like older people will tell you like, oh, take care of your health, keep exercising, make sure you take care of yourself because you're going to thank yourself when you're older. If you've never heard that, I personally have heard that multiple times from older people, from YouTube, yada, yada, yada. And this is just my opinion. With some of these contestants, they are very much giving old. And like, there are other contestants that are the same age, but they're giving young. Like, it's pretty clear the contestants who like stayed active, or like the contestants who actually still go out and like do things versus the ones that like stay at home and maybe not do as much. Like, it's pretty clear to me. Let me know if it's not clear to y'all. And don't get me wrong, like on average, this is a very active group of guys, but to me, it's pretty clear which guys are like more active and have more social lives than the ones who don't. I hope that makes sense. Oh, and one more thing before I get started with the first impressions. Y'all, this cast has some Dilfs. And let me go ahead and point out the Dilfs for y'all. First is Jordan. Y'all, Jordan is a hunk. Like, you could easily put him as a dad or a young grandpa on a Hallmark movie and he would fit in seamlessly. Like, him on camera, like, I was like, not me getting kind of thirsty over this 60-plus-year-old man. Next is Christopher. So in my notes, I wrote adorable in all caps and underlined it. I don't know what it is about this man, but something about him is so adorable. Like, he's very cute, and then also like, I think it's because he's very much a family man, and like he has that really nice white beard. Like, Christopher's definitely a Dilf. Next is Mark, Kelsey's hot dad. As y'all know, I was thirsting over him during Joey Graziati's season. Mark is very hot, but I will say Mark was giving us no personality this episode. Like, y'all, there were like 10 guys I feel like should be chosen over Mark just because they had personality. And Mark, I don't know if he's shy or he's not very competitive or what's going on, but Mark was giving us like no personality, and he needs to like get over that and get over that quickly. The next Dilf is Jonathan. Y'all, Jonathan looks like he's like 50. This is one of the guys I'm kind of talking about. This dude is very fit and very active. Like, his kids seem to be in like middle school, early high school, and he's still balling with them. Like, this man is very active, and also he looks amazing for his age. Like, I would have clocked 50, but he's actually 61. Next is Pascal, the Frenchman. Y'all, I love a Frenchman. Like, I just came back from Europe, y'all. The Frenchman. Whew, he's attractive, but don't get me wrong, he's not like the hottest guy in this cast, but the accent definitely elevates him. It makes him stand out, and I love a French accent, so. And lastly is Chalk. Let me know below in the comments, would y'all put him in the Dilf category? He was like borderline for me. Like, he's handsome, but like, is he dad I want to we may be reaching a bit. Let me know what you think in the comments. But I will say, I do think it's his personality that kind of teetered him over the edge for me. But when I talk about Dilfs, I'm just talking about just looks alone, nothing to do with personality. Okay, that's all I got. Let's dive into the first impressions. And first up is Pascal. Pascal, absolutely love Pascal. He's the Frenchman. I don't know what it is, y'all, but Europeans, I just came back from Europe, and y'all are probably gonna hear me mention it multiple times, whatever it is, what it is. But Europeans overall are just more romantic. Like, I don't, it's probably just the accents. I don't know. But like, when I was in Europe, just talking to people, I felt like I was in a romance novel. And all of these dudes come from like a different generation. Typically the older generation, since they didn't grow up on iPhones, they tend to be like a little more romantic than like people my age and younger. But definitely Europeans, just in my opinion, tend to be more romantic, and that's what Pascal is giving. But with Pascal, I do have two reads. First, Pascal is very successful. He owns a salon or like a series of salons, don't know, but he's successful. Most American women, especially older women, just like probably would not be down for that. It would just be too metrosexual, and also in his job he would be around too many women, and that would be a problem. And I'm gonna explain this the best I can, but like, I don't think Pascal is gay. Like, he just works in salons, and just overall in Europe, I don't wanna say the guys are less masculine, like that's not it, but like European guys just, they don't seem to have as much to prove. Like, I cannot explain this, but like in America, a lot of guys just walk around looking like, and just like acting like they have something to prove, whereas Europeans, like, they don't have that. And just overall, so like here in the States, like for the most part, if you're in the city, it's pretty easy to tell like who's gay and who's not. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of gay men who just don't look gay. Like, there's plenty of that. But in Europe, it was way harder for me to tell who was gay and who wasn't, because I was just like, wait, are you gay or are you just European? Like, it was tougher to tell, because again, the straight guys there, it's not like American guys where it seems like they have like something to prove. Like, I just can't explain it better than that. Like, if you don't know, just go to Europe or something. And the other thing I want to say about Pascal said he moved to Chicago when he was like 22, and he's been living in the States like 40 years. And I'm like, so how do you still have this French accent? And he has like a heavy French accent, and I thought that was unusual. But later on in the episode, he mentions that he goes to France twice a year, and he purposely like tries to keep his accent, which makes sense, because like I know a French guy here, like straight off the boat from France, and he's been living here like 8 or 10 years or something, and he just got citizenship, and he's slowly losing his accent. And I'm like, if he's only been here 10 years and he's losing an accent, how does Pascal still have his, and he's been here like 40 years? And sorry, one last thing about Pascal, and we are gonna move on. So he owns a salon or a series of salons. Whether or not he wins or loses in this show, I'm sure his business will get a boost, so that's winning regardless. Next is Kim. Kim was the seaman, and just a heads up, y'all, so I used to be in the Army, and like, if y'all didn't know, if a dude is in the Air Force, he's an airman, but if you're in the Navy, you're a seaman, and I love calling them seamen. Because that's what he is. He's a seaman. Sorry if that was corny, whatever, military joke. He was very sweet, very classic. Like, I actually think it was a good choice that he put on his military uniform. It would just definitely helped him stand out. But also, he has very big ears. Next is Chalk. Chalk made her his famous chicken noodle soup, and he calls it Chalk noodle soup. This was very creative, but I did not like this. Next is Jonathan. So Jonathan was wearing this gold tie with a matching gold handkerchief. I really like that. That was like a good choice. Jonathan is one of the Dilfs that I talked about earlier. I think he looks much younger than he actually is, but when he was interacting with Joan, I just didn't see much of a connection. Next is Jordan. Jordan is really hot, and I think Joan kind of likes him. When they were interacting, they were like giddy middle schoolers around him. The only read that I do have is that when Jordan was around the house and interacting with some of the other contestants, he seemed like a little bit of a hater. Next is Gary. This man is a cornball. After that is Jack. Jack is the one who sang to Joan, and later on he makes her dinner. The singing Jack did was very cringe to me. I was cringing watching this, but I appreciate the effort. Next we have Charles L. Charles L is so adorable. If he does not win this show, or regardless if he makes it far. This man is gonna clean house after being on this show. Women are gonna watch this show and see that he's single, and his DMs are gonna blow up. After that, we have Christopher. Christopher gave Joan prune juice, and I think they took shots of prune juice together. I did not like this because doesn't prune juice make you like have to go to the bathroom? Like, I wouldn't want to like have to go to the bathroom in that dress, like have to like get out of it and like you have, like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you gotta go. I don't want to drink or eat anything that's gonna make me have to run to the bathroom. Next is Gil. Gil threw a ball at Joan and she caught it, and he was like, "You're a great catch," or something like that. And like, this was great, but it was like a dad joke, and I feel like he was able to get away with this because I think he's a dad, and also he's that age. But like, if somebody younger were to do this, it would just be way too corny. Next is David. David pulled up in the horse, and he's a rancher from Austin, Texas. This was definitely a flex. Like, I like this, but he ends up getting eliminated later in the night. And lastly, we have Mark. Mark is Kelsey's hot dad. Kelsey is the winner of Joey Graziati's season. And for the intro, she comes out of the limo and she introduces her dad and like builds him up. And like, Kelsey really be working for her day rate. She's introducing her dad on this episode. And then last season, she was definitely on 1 or 2 episodes of Jen Tran's season. She was definitely there for an episode. I just can't remember if she was there for the reunion too. And like, I'm not mad at it. I just think it's funny. Like, this is basically her job now. Also, is that how you say Joey's last name? Graziati? I think that's how you say it. But if I'm wrong and somebody knows, just clock me in the comments. Okay, that's all I got for the first impressions. Now I'm just gonna move into talking about a few of the one-on-ones, and then I'll talk about the rose ceremony. First is Dan and Joan. So Dan was the one in the confessional where he was talking about being a girl dad, and he got pretty emotional. So to me, Dan is like a little sensitive, but him and Joan have a little bit of a connection. Next is Greg. Greg was wearing this like white suit, and just the way he looks and his hair, he kind of looks like the KFC Colonel to me. Greg created this beach setup for him and Joan, and they had some like tropical drinks. I really like this. I just thought that was cute. Next, we have a one-on-one with Jonathan and Joan, and Jonathan mentions how Joan talked about feeling invisible on Gary's season. And when I listened to that, honestly, I thought they both sounded like liars. Like, they are both very good-looking people, and like I get it. Like, your feelings are your feelings, but for them to say they both felt invisible being their age, like, it was just hard for me to believe. After that, Jack is like taking a tour of the Bachelor Mansion, and like, he is just so amazed by the mansion, yada yada yada. But like, this mansion is like kind of dated. I mean, it's a nice mansion, but it's a little dated. And then he proceeds to make Joan dinner, which if somebody made me dinner, they would have automatically gotten first impression rose, and I was kind of disappointed Jack didn't get first impression. And compared to the Bachelorette, a lot of these contestants are really putting an effort to win over Joan, and like, it's in a way that you really don't see on the Bachelorette. Next is Michael. So Michael pulls out this like book with laminated pages, and he shows her like some of his flowers because he's a gardener and he really likes gardening, and that would just be a no for me. So I just have horrible springtime allergies. I don't find gardening relaxing. Like, that would be a huge no for me. But if you're into gardening, he would be perfect. Next is Keith. So Keith and Joan played cornhole, and Keith is also the one who pulled up in the station wagon. Keith is the type of guy that you would like to hang around with every day until the end. Like, he is just such a like bundle of joy. Like, it's tough to explain. And keep Keith in mind. I'm gonna talk about Chalk real quick, and then I'm gonna tie this all in. So I really like Chalk too. Chalk and Joan are having a one-on-one, and Chalk asks her, "What are you looking for?" And Joan responds, "Someone who's ready to have a little adventure now. I'm ready to have some fun. My bucket list is to do a safari." And then Chalk responds that he climbed Kilimanjaro. What makes this show so interesting is that Joan really needs to pick someone based on how she sees her next 20 years going. So on The Bachelorette, like, on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, like a lot of who they choose is based on who they think is the hottest and who they're the most attracted to. But for the Golden Bachelorette, being attracted to them is definitely a factor, but it's not the most important factor. Some of these contestants are way more active than others. Some of these contestants want to travel, go on adventures, go to the beach and do other stuff. Whereas some of them, they're more chill. Like, I just want to garden. I just want to like enjoy time with the grandkids. And you got to really think like, what do you want to do for the next 20 years? And according to what Joan says, I think Joan wants to live like this Golden Bachelorette lifestyle, and she wants to travel and do all of that stuff. So she really needs to find a partner that is interested in doing that sort of thing. And just from what we've seen so far, Chalk seems like he would be a good pick, but I will say he seems a little extreme. Like, I'm not about to climb Kilimanjaro. But Keith seems perfect. Like, he's very active. He wants to do things. He's fun. Like, Keith, lifestyle wise, seems to be perfect for Joan. But the thing about Keith, like, let's be real, Keith, out of this group of contestants, he's not the best looking guy. Like, no shade, he's not. But again, for the Golden Bachelorette, this is not all about looks. To me, personality and like how you want to live your life for the next 20 years, to me, that's more important. Also, and sidebar, I think Joan likes them tall. I mean, a lot of women do, but Joan seemed to react more to the taller guys from what I've seen so far. After that, I think Jesse Palmer wheels in a TV and we get various videos from the family of the contestants, like kids and parents from the contestants. This part was really sweet. And then we go to the rose ceremony, and at one point, Christopher says, I haven't caught up with California time, and that was like so real, because I think he lives in New York. And what made that even more real is that I've been jet lagged for like 3 days, so like I totally resonate with this. So during the rose ceremony, Joan has like 3 roses left. She has to like take a moment and walk out of the ceremony, and she's like, oh my god, this is much harder than I thought it would be, yada yada yada. And I'm just like, girl, you're already struggling. Like, this is week 1. Like, you know it's only gonna get harder from here, right? But also at the same time, it seemed like she was just pulling out dramatics. Again, there are just little moments with her that she just seems a little fake to me, and this was one of them. And then Joan, during this part, she gives like a short speech to the guys, and she's just like, I understand some of you had to leave your lives, you had to leave your families. Like, I applaud you for coming here, and like, I get it. Yes, you had to leave your life to be here, but also most of these guys, their kids are grown, and most of them, they are retired, so they're not giving up, other than like money per se. Like, you're not giving up that much to be here. For younger contestants, like, who aren't like fully set in their careers and probably don't make a ton of money, it actually, to me, it takes more to be there than someone who's like retired and their kids are grown. And don't get me wrong, I understand everyone has their own struggles, but like, let's be real. It's easier for retired people to take 2 months off and go on this show than it is for people who are like younger and just starting their careers. After that, we have the rose ceremony, and to me, there really were no upsets. There was only one small one. Pablo got eliminated. He just looked really unique, and I kind of wanted to know more about him, but he wasn't really a big loss. And that is the end of the episode and the end of this review. If you enjoyed this review, please go ahead and pound that like button, pound that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell, and I will see you all next time. Have a good one. Bye.